Hi guys, I'm Aditi and today's session is going to be a very important session. In today's session, I'm going to focus on a couple of things. I'm going to talk about writing task 2, which I think most of the students struggle with. How to write, how to just start with step number 1 because so many people struggle very low in writing tasks. So we're going to learn how you can jump your bands from 6.5 to 8 with 20% efforts because there are just couple of things which you need to focus a lot while writing task 2 essay. Before I start, I'm quickly going to revise few things if you have missed my previous session. There are two tasks in writing task 1 and writing task 2. Spend more time on writing task 2 and minimum you need to write around 250 words, but I recommend writing somewhere around 260, not a lot because sometimes we run out of the time for task 1. So just don't write 300, 380. No. Also, there are more chances of mistake. Now, guys, first biggest thing, like if you've been checking the predictions, I've told you two kinds of questions are coming very frequently. Discuss both views and to what extent do you agree or disagree. These were the questions which repeated very frequently in the month of June. What I have seen, the people who scored low, the reason was they were not able to understand the question well. So on my screen now you will see a question. We're gonna learn step by step how to take the steps to write a better version. So there's a question in front of your screen. Read the question very carefully. I will teach you how to analyze the question. Government invest in the arts such as music and theater is a waste of money. Governments must invest this money in public services instead. To what extent do you agree or disagree with the statement? Like this, you will be getting a statement on your exam day and you're supposed to write an essay on it. Now, what happens with 90% of the people read the question? Sometimes they don't even read the question and they start writing. Don't do that. Make sure you read the question carefully. You understand what are the keywords, what are the micro keywords, what are the action keywords. Because the major problem with the students struggling in writing is they are not very clear with what is question. So here I'm giving you a minute. I want you to underline keywords in the question. Identify the topic and then focus on detail in the question. I'll also teach you how to identify the question type. So you use the right structure for the right kind of essay, and how you write the introduction, because introduction is the first thing the examiner is going to see. So it is like a guide. So what you should do, like what I recommend my students, how they approach the IELTS essay, they first underline keywords. What are the keywords? So they stick to the question. This will help you understanding the question. And guys, if you look at the marking criteria, I hope each one of you knows the marking criteria. In the marking criteria, 25%, 1/4 of your marks depends upon the task achievement. That is how well you understand the question. If you don't understand the question, you will not get the marks for task achievement. So here is your time and a minute. You have to understand the question, underline the keywords that you may have identified. Government investment in the arts, such as music and theater, which is an example of arts, is a waste of money. Governments must invest this money in public services instead. So first thing, we're talking about government investment and that too in arts. Then we're talking it's a waste of money. And we are saying governments must invest in public services. You know about public services. It could be transportation, like public transportation is one service which government provides. It could be better infrastructure, better roads and transportation facility. That is also service provided by the government. Also, sometimes you will see on the bus stop now, there is a facility of toilets and everything. That's also kind of government provided facility. So this is what we are saying, they should invest in public services instead. To what extent do you agree or disagree? So I hope you understood the question well. What I recommend, guys, don't read question once. Try to read it twice, thrice, or maybe 4 times. So you understand question well. I have seen so many essays, people are good with English. They feel they're not good with English. That's why they struggle in IELTS writing. But surprisingly, the data which we have from the previous students who have failed before enrolling with us was They were actually not writing on the topic. They were going off the topic. They didn't know how to understand the question, analyze the question. So it's not like you write 100 writings and then only you can get a good score. With less efforts also you can get good score if you're clear with the basics. Now, third thing, read this part. To what extent do you agree, disagree? So this part tells you question type. So this is a kind of agree, disagree statement. In agree, disagree statement, now this is not even to do you agree, disagree. This is to what extent do you agree, disagree. So basically on a scale of 1 to 100, you can decide how much you agree, how much you disagree. You can say completely agree, completely disagree, slightly disagree, like this. But I recommend what happens now with this kind of question. This is tricky one. People write things and then they're like, they just change their opinion in between. So if you come, it's better you can take one stand, either completely agree or completely disagree. That makes it easier for you to stick to one opinion. So the topic is government investment. That is the topic for this kind of essay. See, now this may seem obvious, but many candidates start discussing ideas that are unrelated. So don't do that. 250 words you should spend on actually writing your opinion, and then you're not just writing the idea, you have to support your idea, extend your idea. Now, I told you how to identify the topic. Now I'm talking about the details. Focus on the detail in the question. Now, what I've seen is many essays are generic essays. They're not specific essays. This is again a major reason behind people's failure. So it's very important to understand what not to do and what to do. So why people fail again is they write generic essay. Nowadays, this XYZ is increasing, something like this, which is a very generic statement, and examiners read thousands of such statements and they know people have crammed things. Don't do that. What are the micro keywords? You have to talk about the government investment in the arts and how it's a waste of money, and how they can talk. You have to talk about public services. This is another thing, that they can invest in public services. So these are the micro keywords. I hope everybody is clear. Let me know in the comment section. Are you clear with the keywords, micro keywords, how to understand the question or not?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Now you know how to narrow down the topic restrictions. I will now take you to the next stage. Guys, there are different kinds of IELTS essays you will be getting on exam day. Some essays are like advantage, disadvantage. Some are agree, disagree. Some are advantage, outweigh disadvantage. Some essays are based on discuss both views, give your opinion. Some are problem solution. So different kinds of essays are there and different kinds of structure we have. Now, either you just basically use 4 paragraphs: introduction, body paragraph 1, body paragraph 2, and conclusion. Or even you can use 5 steps, 5 you can make 5 paragraphs, up to you. But paragraphing is important. Do paragraphing in your essays. So you're often broadly, if I talk about, mostly essays are either opinion based. But and if the opinion is asked, if I'm saying what is your opinion, so make sure you write, because I'm asking you. If you don't write, you lose marks. So many people don't write their opinion. So always, golden rule is coming from my side: read the question carefully, okay, and then decide how to write it. Now, in this question, in the chat box, I want you to brainstorm. I'm teaching you the third step now, idea generation. Because if last time I had a session, people were like, Aditi, idea generation is so difficult. I was like, okay, I'll make it easy for you. It's very easy. So quickly in the chat box, I want you to write your ideas. In this question, you're being asked, to what extent do you agree, disagree? So this tells you will need to be develop an argument. You need to decide what your opinion is. First decide, you agree or disagree. Now, how will you decide? You will decide on the basis of what kind of ideas you have. And do you think it's easy for you to make sure that your opinion is clear throughout the essay? So if you think it's a wastage of money, and if you have more viewpoints, write it on that. If you think no, you feel public, they should invest in the public services, write it on it. So take a paper, jot down certain things quickly in 2 to 3 minutes, and plan your essay. People are like, Aditi, planning is wastage of time, but trust me guys, if you plan your essays, you come out with a better answer. You're very clear what you're supposed to write, and you stick to that throughout the essay. And task achievement, you will score really, really high, because you know what you're going to write. So if you, let's say if you're in agreement with the art, how can art benefit people? Think about it. There are many ways. There's so many people who are artists, and by art we get to know about our history, our culture. That's why you will see now there are so many museums. Government is investing so much. Think about how they could suffer without arts. Arts gives us a sense of relaxation, you know, and arts are a way we get to know about many kinds of things. Why do we need to be publicly funded? Why we need to publicly fund the arts? So think about such question, brainstorm. What would happen to art companies without funding? Without funding, of course, they will not be able to survive, and there will be no arts. We will not get to know about our past, our ancestors. We will lose our traditional cultural values. And there is a lot of cultural exchange. So many people visit other countries to know about their art, their culture. So tourism, it can impact tourism also heavily. Now, if you are in agreement with public services, quickly in the chat box, I want your viewpoints. You have a minute, think about it. What are some examples of public services, guys? Quickly let me know in the comment section. Why are they important? Are they so important that money from elsewhere should be diverted there? There's so many public services. You go to rural areas, you will realize the reality. In rural areas, guys, sanitation is not there. Basic facilities like road transportation is so poor, and that's the reason people are migrating from rural areas to urban areas. Job facilities are less. Yes, electricity, good, Gurnoor. Road construction, good idea. Boost the country, yes, Galaxy J6. Yes, Sukhjeet, good idea. I'm seeing a lot of good ideas in the chat box, and I see you guys are doing good brainstorming. You're good at. So idea generation is not an issue. Anybody still feels idea generation is an issue? In the chat box, guys, are you clear with idea generation? Use chat box, please. Okay, not an issue. People are clear. So you need to brainstorm a bit. Now, guys, coming to the third thing. Once you have brainstormed, you have actually come to your opinion. Now comes the final position where you have to write. So 4 parts are there: introduction, body paragraph 1, body paragraph 2, and conclusion. I'm writing it here. Intro is there, BP1 is there, BP2 is there, conclusion is there. Now I'll tell you, I'll clear step by step how to write all these things. Guys, make sure your mic is on mute because there's a lot of disturbance coming. So for introduction, first rephrase the question. We call it paraphrasing. In my previous live sessions, I've talked about it, the importance of rephrasing the question. Again, I'm repeating, there's one parameter called lexical resource. In layman's language, it's vocabulary. Vocabulary is very, very important, guys. What you write, what words you use are very important. So we don't want you to use very high vocabulary. We just want you to actually use the topic related vocabulary. And for this, we'll use lots of synonyms. Like we rephrase the question and we use lots of synonyms. So just reread the question, try to write the question in your own words. And for this, you can use synonyms, method number 1. Method number 2, you can change the sentence structure, active into passive. So try to change the word forms, make nouns into verbs like this. Then after rephrasing the question, second thing what you do is you write thesis statement. What is thesis statement? In the thesis statement, you answer the question, this question. So you need to give your opinion. That is the thesis statement. And then finally you write outline sentence where you tell about what you're going to write in the body paragraph. So whatever are your two main ideas, you present it in the introduction. You can combine thesis statement and outline sentence too. Then for body paragraph 1, I'm talking about the biggest mistakes people are doing. They're writing lots of ideas and then they're still like, Aditi, I don't have idea, do something. No, we as an examiner don't want lots of idea from your side. What we want is an essay which is smooth. So we want an idea. We want you to see how you support the idea, how you extend the idea. So supporting details for the same idea. And guys, then we want example. Example is important. You can give different kinds of example, but example is important. So what is the structure? Idea, explanation, and then finally example. Same is with for body paragraph 2. If you want to give some other viewpoint, that you can give. And final is the conclusion. What conclusion, guys? Now, so many people had exams. We actually conducted an IELTS reality test last week, and some of the people had exam on 1st July. So many people actually did wrong things. They started with task 1, then they went to task 2, and they were like, Aditi, my body paragraph is left, my conclusion is left. That is, they were not able to complete the writings in the stipulated time. Does it happen with you? Then you're doing the things incorrectly. Conclusion is important. If you don't write conclusion, you will score very low. So make sure you complete the writing task too. That is very, 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 very important. Secondly, guys, do lots of mock test. And please do make sure you do mock test in the same way the exams are done, and you determine your current level. Mock test before starting the training also you can do. You get to know, okay, this is my level. After the training you can do, but make sure you join mock test. Don't run behind, here and there looking for scores. You will easily get scores once you are doing the things correctly. So now this is the idea how to write conclusion. Simple way, very, very simple way. Write a concluding phrase. To conclude, in conclusion, anything like this you can write. Just a minute to make it more easy for you. I'm just using these highlighters. Okay.
Yes.
So you can just use the concluding phrase. Just use the chat box, guys. That will be more easy. There's a lot of noises there. Concluding phrase you can use. And then summarize. What happens, guys, with conclusion? People are giving more new ideas. Don't do that, guys. What is conclusion? Try to understand the definition. Conclusion itself says where you finally conclude your old ideas. I read it and I get to know that this was in the entire essay. So this is how you write an essay. I hope everybody is clear with it. I'll give you a minute. If you have any issues, you can write your queries in the chat box. And now we will switch to the next part. We'll discuss this essay and we'll try to write it. So everybody read the question once again. In this question, you're given the opinion that spending money on the arts is a waste of money and it would be better spent on public services. You then have to say if you agree or disagree. So you would need to decide what you think and give reasons to support your answers. That is the most important thing, giving reasoning. So let's try to write it. You can use chat box and write sample answers. Also, guys, while writing, if you've attended my previous sessions, what I told you, that please use complex sentences. There's one more parameter. We talked about task achievement. We lately talked about lexical resource. Third parameter, let me introduce you, is the grammatical range and accuracy. So what that is? First, accuracy, I think it's very clear. You should write essays which are, which are more much clear. like having a proper grammar, it should be understandable. But second thing which is very important is writing essays where we see range. So what is range? We want to see different kinds of tenses. We want to see active sentences, passive sentences. We also, guys, want to see many other things like complex sentences, compound, mix of structures. So that is how you get a good score in GRA, grammatical range and accuracy. And it's not like you learn this, you have to make sure you practice. So I have one more session, I'll share the link. If you have missed how to write complex sentences, do watch it. And we'll try to make sure that you can write complex sentences with complete accuracy. So try to write the introduction, also the thesis statement. So thesis statement, you will have to choose one opinion. So either you can say, although I agree that it is important to spend money on public services, I do not think spending on arts is a waste of money. So I'm going to write an introduction for you. You can also write it in the chat box. So first, paraphrase the question. I'm writing it in the capitals to make sure you can have a quick look. So we see this, you have to paraphrase the statement. It's not as important that you try to paraphrase each and every word. So these days, the government spends a large part of its budget not only on public services, but also on arts. Now you have to, after giving this, you have to make sure, guys, you kind of write your own opinion. That is, the thesis statement is very, very important. So please try to present a thesis statement in the chat box.
Can I ask you something?
Yeah, just wait for a while. Let me complete this. Then I'll just spare some time for the queries only. Now, guys, thesis statement is very, very important. It's very important what you write in the thesis statement. You stick to it throughout the essay. What happens with people is that, they write something in the thesis statement and change the statement in between. Don't do that. That's why I told you plan the essay. If you plan the essay, you're never going to do such things. So although I agree, decide whatever views you have based on that. Please write your sample answer in the chat box quickly. So what we're trying to say here, although I agree that it is important to spend money on public services, I do not think spending on arts is a waste of money. So basically, he has told that he thinks that government should spend money on public services, but at the same time, he's saying that I do not think spending on arts is a waste of money. So why you do think it's not a waste of money, and why we should spend a significant amount of the government budget on public services? So several reasons, just think about it. I think these public services are the things like, hospitals are there, civil hospital. So vaccination we all had, now it was for free. So public services are the things such as hospitals are there, roads are there, schools are there. And I think somewhere, guys, these things determine the quality of life. Now some people are poor, some are rich. So people who are poor, if we want them to also live a better life, we need to have certain fundings of the government in the right direction. That is in terms of hospitals, roads, schools, because these things are ultimately going to determine the quality of life that most of us will have. Like, I'll give you an example. If the government does not spend enough money on hospital, then what is going to happen? Health of the society will decline. We saw so many deaths of coronavirus. Why? Because government didn't have sufficient facilities to provide to the people. Government was unprepared. We didn't have enough beds, oxygen cylinders. Same way, here you can correlate with it. So which led to a lot of deaths, guys. So if you don't spend money on hospital, health of the society declines. You can even give some surveys. I will tell you how to write examples also in one of the session. Similarly, guys, if you don't spend money on schools, children will not be educated. And education is the third eye of human. So if your country is not educated, of course, their overall growth will be hindered. Now, coming to the arts, the many things like it is difficult, guys, for many arts institutions to make profit, because arts is one section again where people spend less. So without the help from the government, if you see theaters and many other places, these may have to close. Moreover, arts also somewhere impact the quality of life we have. Many people get great pleasure in going to see music and theater. Like why people go to watch films? They like to see it. They feel relaxed. They feel calm and composed. So it is important that the government assist such institutions so they can provide entertainment to the public. So this is how we have discussed the idea. I've made you understand how you can write one essay, keeping into mind the 5 finger strategy, understanding keywords, identifying topic, focusing on the details in the question, and then identify the question type. And finally, writing it in the 4-way intro, BP1, BP2, and conclusion. Guys, if you are new to our channel, you can just subscribe our channel, PT Universe. We keep on doing coming lots of live session. Don't miss any one of them. And secondly, guys, we are also going to have some Insta live sessions shortly. So if you are not connected with us on Instagram, connect with us, because every weekend we have Insta live sessions where we discuss the most rated topics. Also, guys, our new batches are going to start from 5th of July, morning, afternoon, evening, special batches for GT and academic students, where we're going to cover all the things in detail. So that also, if you want to enroll, let us know. We're having 3 slots available at present. And guys, apart from that, now I'll be taking your queries. So use the chat in the comment section to post your queries so that I can just quickly answer.